Hi. I don't date a lot, and this has been a source of contention for my very religious grandfather for years. He's a reverend, and as you know, most good Christian girls get married and have babies, and then you die, and that's how life goes. So that's what my grandfather's been hoping. He got really excited for a brief period in time in college when I kept talking about my best friend Joe, and Joe was so awesome, and then he was really disappointed to find out that Joe was actually Joanna, my college roommate. So about a couple years ago, I was 25. I get a call from my grandfather, and immediately I think someone died because he's 86 years old and he never calls me. But I get a call and I hear, Jennifer, I've been praying and God has told me that there is a man for you and his name is James Bimsby. He has just graduated seminary and I just feel that you should meet him. And I'm like, okay. So I'm going down to, he lives in North Carolina, I'm going to go visit him in a couple weeks. I'm like, Granddaddy, if you still feel really strongly about this when I get down there, okay. And he's like, well, can he email you in the meantime? I was like, oh, okay. So he emails me, I'm like, hey, so you have Facebook? We could like see a photo. He's like, I don't have Facebook. And I thought that was weird because everyone has a Facebook. So we're emailing and he doesn't really know how to use the internet and he doesn't really have Facebook. And I find out he's 24 years old. He's apparently incredibly handsome, according to my 86-year-old grandfather who has to wear glasses. And he's just going to be the best man ever. So I'm emailing with Mr. Bimsby, and it's okay. And I get down to North Carolina, and my grandfather's really, really excited. He's like, so you're going to go on a date to the Red Lobster. And I was like, okay. I was like, how do you say no to an 86-year-old grandfather? He loves Jesus and he prayed about it. You have to go. So the church that he goes to does a little pamphlet that has all the graduates from seminary each year. So I looked at this pamphlet and I found a photo of James Bimsby and I immediately fell down on the bed and started to cry. And I brought my mother in and she looked at the photo and immediately started to laugh. So I'm nervous all day. I'm visiting with one of my cousins, and she's like, oh, you're dating James Bimsby. I'm real sorry. And so I'm just getting more and more apprehensive. I'm like, I can't. I'm sick. Mom, tell him I'm sick. I can't go. I obviously can't go. I can't do it. And she's like, you have to go. It's too funny. So he comes to pick me up. And, I'm 25. I think I'm like this cute little thing. And he walks in, and he has kind of dyed black hair that's been blow-dried back and these circle wire rim glasses, and his short sleeve plaid shirt is tucked into his white jeans, and he has white sneakers and a calculator watch. And it wasn't ironic. And I'm like, hey. And he's like, I've been so excited to meet you. And I was like, yeah. So we get into the car, and he's like, so you ready for the Red Lobster? I was like, I actually can't do the Red Lobster tonight. My grandma's making meatloaf, so I got to get back. And he's like, okay, well, we'll go get coffee. And so we're sitting there, and all I can see is this calculator watch. And I was like, so do you use that? He's like, it's the best thing ever. You can just math that up. And he was really excited about it. So we went to a Starbucks instead of going to the Red Lobster. And I don't think he's ever ordered a cup of coffee before in his life, because he stood there for about 5 minutes going, what do you suggest? I was like, coffee. So he finally gets a cup of black coffee, and he sits down and doesn't drink any of it. But I'm sitting at the table, and he's like, oh, I forgot something. Let me go get it. He goes to his car and pulls out 3 photo albums. And I was like, I don't date a lot, but I know this isn't normal. And so he pulls out the first one, and I was like, so what is this about? And he's like, this is a road trip I just took with my folks. I'm like, oh, son of a gun. So we go through picture by picture of like Yellowstone and his parents and some bear and some trees. And I'm like, okay, this is great. And then he pulls out the second photo album. I'm like, what's this one? He's like, this is of another road trip I took with my folks. It's like, where's this one to? This one was in Alaska. I was like, snow, yay. So we look at snow. And then we get to the third one. And I was like, what's this one about? He's like, this one's of my truck. So we went through and looked at the truck. At this point, I'm like, I really need to go home. There's meatloaf. So he drives me back, and he's like, this was just so nice. I am so glad I got to meet you. Oh, is that my time? Shoot. I was like, yeah, that's great. And so he drops me off, and he tries to go in for the awkward hug, and I was like, bye. And I ran away. So it was really bad, and I go home back to Pennsylvania, and I'm sitting in my apartment and hanging out, and I get a letter from my grandfather. It says, Dear Jennifer, I'm so sorry. I misunderstood James's actual age. He is not 24, as I once told you. He's 42.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Great story.